Hello, hello, hello. It's me, Josie, coming on live inside our group, Women Who Lead with Heart. If you're here with me live, give me a hey, give me a shout, give me an emoji. If you're joining me on replay, give me a hashtag replay. This is a new series that I'm starting up that is called Freebie Fridays. It could also be Tiny Tuesdays or Thin Thursdays. It could float. It's basically short, laser focused, small trainings to inspire, to uplift, to give you a little nugget, something that can action on today so that you can grow in your world. Are you ready? This one is called The One Skill That You Need That Serves You Anytime, Anywhere. And then my little disclaimer is okay, so maybe it's more than one. It's probably more than one. But if we talk about this one that is at the tippy top of the pyramid, it will reveal all of the supporting skills that you need below. And what I am talking about might surprise you. It is this. You ready? The big reveal. What's the one skill that you most need that can serve you anytime, anywhere? That can serve you when you're in conflict, when you're negotiating, when you're working with a difficult personality, when you're in a car accident, when you're fighting with your spouse, when you're trying to extract something as a parent from a reluctant child. The one skill I'm talking about, you ready? It's curiosity. Surprise. That surprise you? It's being curious. Even if, especially when there's times of discord, when there is something that is full of friction, when you're activated, when you're emotionally aroused and in anger, frustration, disappointment, discouragement, when you feel upset and activated, I'm talking about how do you stay curious and why is it important? Okay, so I've got my notes up. I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of an overview. Okay, when we are curious, we are not react responding. When we are curious, we're open. When we are react responding, we're defensive and we're closed and we're protective and we're emotional. But when we're in curiosity, we're engaged and we're vulnerable. We're wondering why. We want to know more. We are open. We're curious. When we're reacting and responding, we're in a hurry, we're sometimes nervous, we're emotional, we're worried, sometimes we're fearful, sometimes we're reacting out of scarcity, worrying that there's not enough time, there's not enough money, we're worried about our reputation, we're worried about being wrong. That's when we're in reaction mode, as opposed to when we're curious, we're more taking our time. Children are curious. It's play energy. It's not aware of time scarcity. We're not aware of like our reputation being at risk. We're exploring when we're curious. We're also not combative. We're not trying to win when we're being curious. We're not trying to power over. We're actually more inclusive. We're more receptive. We're more collaborative. We're more explorative. Explorative? I don't even know if that's a word. Are you following? Okay, so here's the thing. It's a hitch, right? It sounds great. It sounds like a lovely thing to be in curiosity. We're all raising our hands saying, yeah, sign me up. And it is great until it's not. It's easy until it's not, until we're challenged, until we're threatened. And then all of a sudden, our openness shuts down. So I want to give you some real life examples that I'm experiencing with clients or former clients that might help illustrate how this might come up for you. All right, I've got one gal right now in my group who is going through some challenges with her bosses. She actually is so capably running this mega business, but a lot of her efforts are invisible to the highest levels of leadership. And when this big promotion is coming up, she's getting whispers that it's not going to be she who is promoted or seen for the highest level role. She's feeling underestimated. And it makes her angry, resentful. I mean, obviously, it makes her indignant. It makes her want to argue for her strengths. It makes her want to prove her merit. She wants to create like proof that she deserves this job, and she's in this frustrating experience. It's hard for her to be curious why the leadership isn't seeing her for promotion. Does that resonate for you? I can imagine that like it's activating. I've got another client who feels ignored, who feels like her previous um, wins, her successes, her achievements have completely been passed over. It's like it just happened. And so she feels dismissed, ignored, invisible. And that makes her feel really frustrated as well, as you can imagine. It's hard for her in this example to feel curious, like, why is that so? There's so many that I could tell you. I've got a gal who just started in a new position, and as she's at a very high level, she's noticing some real dysfunction in the way this company communicates, that they're poorly managing their time and their meetings. Meetings that are supposed to take 15 or 20 minutes take an hour and 15 minutes. And she's just noticing all this sloppiness everywhere. And she's frustrated and annoyed and irritable about the ways in which things are working. It's hard for her to stay open and curious when she feels sort of judgmental or frustrated or angry or annoyed or impatient. It's totally normal. I've got another gal who is very much a high level leader in her team, but she is getting actively challenged by somebody who's below her, who is almost lambasting her or undercutting her or elbowing her out or trying to dissuade her project from succeeding, basically sabotaging it. And that's extremely frustrating for her. It puts her in a tailspin. It's disrupting her sleep. She's mad and angry and she feels offended and defensive and doesn't know how to handle it. And then another client, as one more, who for years felt micromanaged in her position, that no matter what she did, she felt like she had a boss that always wanted her to do it 3 times as fast or 3 times as better, or it should have been done 3 days ago. And that micromanagement was so challenging for her. So these are like real world examples, right? Of like what we can experience when we're outside of our control zone and we run into other people that give us these stressful circumstances, and it makes us very activated emotionally. And my thesis is if we could find a curious space, if we could stay in curiosity, we would be so much more effective, but it's hard. If curiosity is the ultimate that we're going for, to be open and receptive and effective, even when we're feeling under assault by circumstances or outcomes that we don't desire, what that requires of us is for us to be really self managed, right? We have to really handle our own emotional reaction, our fury, our disappointment, our anger, our all of the things that come up. And for us to be self managed, we have to be self aware. We have to understand what's going on rather than just reacting to it. So this is the pyramid I'm building, right? And for us to be self-aware, we need the skills to manage our stress, to be able to rise above the experiences and understand what we're experiencing, how we can manage ourselves and others, how we can be aware of our emotional experience, and how we can then be in a curious state to solve problems. And below all of that is being able to see that we are at choice at any given moment, that we don't have to respond a certain way, that nobody makes us feel a certain way. And even below that is this rock solid bedrock of confidence that says it's okay for us to have all of these experiences, and it's okay for us to be able to take our time and to decide how we want to react, that nothing is really at risk, that we have our own back, that we will be okay, and that we can stay in these points of friction, in these turbulent experiences, and find our way and come out on the other side and trust that we have all that. That's confidence. So it's kind of like a big pyramid with staying open and curious as the ultimate desire at the top, but so many things going on below there that need to be in place for us to stay in that space. Is this making sense for you? I'd love to see a comment. I see lots of clients in my text chain. It's good to see you. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Kathy. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Megan. So let me know if this is making sense to you. Okay. All right, so how? You might be at that moment where you're like, okay, I get it. I understand that that's what I want. And how would I actually get there? So I'm going to give you some sample questions, like an inquiry that you could have as sort of like, how would I rise up even when my emotions want to tangle me and bring me down? Even as I'm so tempted to take the bait and be hooked when these circumstances happen for me. I'm going to give you some questions. Okay, you ready? Let's say you are in a negotiation. You are working with someone about wanting to get something and you're getting told no. Or you're receiving some objection. You ask for something to the powers that be and you feel like you're getting thwarted or told no. Perfect example. How would you stay curious in this example? Here's a sample question you could ask, and I love this one. 4 words only. What are your concerns? It's not you instantly trying to argue or to combat the objection, trying to win or strive or prove or disprove that their thesis is wrong and prove that you're right. It's actually this staying curious. What are your concerns? And then stop talking so hard. Listen. This gives or gently forces or invites the other person to have to explain why not. You're not emotional, you're just asking, what are your concerns? See if you like that one. Let's say you've got another one where you've got a problem or a hurdle, something that needs to be achieved, and you're also feeling thwarted. Instead of trying to force things or be angry or argue for your point of view or feel emotionally activated, here's a sample question you could ask. What needs to happen now? What needs to happen for this to be true? What needs to be true? And asking that rather than fighting or arguing for what you think it needs to be keeps you open, keeps you curious, keeps other people engaged in the conversation. It keeps you not defensive, not protective of your point of view. It has you be more collaborative and explorative. Can you feel that one? Okay, let's say you are just getting rudeness. So many women that I meet in my community feel shut down, shut out, feel like they deal with domineering personalities, outright aggression, sometimes outright sexism, sometimes things that are really inappropriate. And I love this one. You ready for the curious question when you feel like you've been insulted? Or you hear a statement where you're like, oh my God, that's so wrong. Here's the curious question for you. Not emotional, not barbed, not with an agenda, just a neutral, open, non-reactive question. You ready? It's another 4-word one. What does that mean? Somebody says to you in the office, like, smile, you look prettier when you smile. And you think, oh, I can't believe he just said that. What does that mean? It's a way of really silencing an inappropriate comment, an insult, or a statement that you absolutely have no business even engaging in, but you don't want to smile and be silent. Do you like that one? All right, I think I have another one. And it's when, let's say you are being discounted for a promotion and they tell you, well, we just need you to show more executive presence. Or they're saying, I don't like this proposal. It doesn't make any sense. We need you to work on it again. Or you're really dealing with a challenge or a rejection that feels just like the door is shutting. I love asking, what does success look like? I've dealt with this one a lot where you're working with somebody who's impatient, who's domineering, who wants results, who wants something to look in a certain way, wants something better, different, more somehow, but there's not specificity in the request. I need to know, what does success look like? What does better look like? What is missing that needs to be seen? And it's not me, even if I feel like inside I'm roiling and boiling, it's actually a very neutral question that I'm asking, because I do need to stay in that higher vibe of curiosity for us to get somewhere forward moving. The opposite is me seething in anger, resentment, indignation, going to happy hour, complaining to my friends, offloading to my cat or my spouse or my housemates. And that's not a productive way to be. That's being triggered, that's being emotional. I'm not saying that being emotional is wrong. I'm saying it's ineffective to solving the problem. We need to actually feel our emotions, and then we need to find that open, curious space. All right. So if you're following me along, I've got now coming to close. You ready for the final? Sometimes the curiosity that's required is to be folded back onto ourselves and ask, why am I so activated in this moment? What am I experiencing? What is this emotion that I'm feeling? What am I making this situation mean? What am I assuming here? What does this have to do with me? And what would I like to choose next? So this is like the 2.0 version. Now I'm going to use this curiosity on myself. What has me hooked? Why am I triggered? What was activated in me? What am I assuming? What am I making this mean? How do I need to soothe my reactive emotions so that I stay engaged? How do I find an open, curious spot now? Hey, Robret, self-reflection, right? Do I need to take a 5-minute pause to gather my composure? What questions do I need to ask myself as a part of this drama that I'm experiencing? That's super uber 2.0 version, self-managed, self-aware. All right. So this is just a little teaser. It's just a little tidbit. It's just a little taster for how we can grow. And hopefully you've got some nuggets to take away. What if it's not enough? What if you don't want the appetizer, you need the meal? What if you're screaming into your camera, but what about my situation? You, my dear one, can come forward. I have a brand new, lovely, juicy thing that I'm calling Live Leadership Lessons. And you can learn about them on my website, www.joeleader.com/live-leadership-lessons. Just go to joeleader.com and you'll see that every now and again, every couple of weeks, every month, I'm doing a special small workshop group for 28 bucks on the day that I'm now quoting it in the spring of 2023, where you get a couple of sessions of learning and coaching so that you can now start to see how you can take action in your life. Live leadership lessons. It's on. The next one is coming next week as I record this. Come on over and check it out, and maybe I'll see you and coach you live there. For now, I'd like to hear, what did you take away from this lesson? How do you want to stay curious? What's challenging for you? Let's start a conversation. Go well.